gaming out how to keep the Texas congressman in the Republican race for the long haul. But in New Hampshire today, it was pure chaos in the early going. More on that in a moment. First, though, our CNN senior congressional correspondent, Dana Bash, covering the Paul campaign and joins us from Manchester. Dana, what is Congressman Paul's take on the New Hampshire primary tomorrow night? How important is that to him and then his chances beyond?
Oh, it's critically important to him. But as you well know, Ron Paul is anything but traditional when it comes to the substance, when it comes to the issues. Same goes for his strategy going forward. So he is really banking on New Hampshire to do better and to raise money in the future. But in terms of another big state coming down the pike, don't look for him to compete there just yet. That's Florida. You're going to compete in South Carolina, but skip Florida and then go on to the next caucus states. Why is that?
Well, that's not exactly true. I mean,
so what are your plans?
We'll be doing something in Florida, but right now we're waiting to see how we do tomorrow night and see how the money comes in and see how we do in South Carolina. But we're not forgetting about Florida. But we don't have plans for, like a $10 million, $20 million program because we don't have that money in the bank and we can't go to Wall Street to get this money. So we'll have to wait and see. But it is planned that at this moment, we don't have a big campaign planned there, but they'll know we're there. And we have the caucus states that we'll be paying more attention to.
Does that say anything about your efforts to actually secure the nomination? I mean, it's sort of hard to do it without really competing in a state like Florida.
No, well, I think it tells you that we are realistic, and that's the way we approached Iowa. We thought we did pretty well there, and right now, polls are looking pretty good up here. So I think we're being realistic. We shouldn't be acting like the government and planning to spend money we don't have. So we have to wait and see how things go.
Realistic, Ron Paul says there, Dana. New Hampshire's a state where, at least in the closing moments, you do a lot of retail politics. Tell us about an incident earlier today that caused a little bit of tempers flaring in the Paul campaign.
Well, you have been to many an event here, I'm sure, as have I, where it is just, it's chaos because candidates come, they try to greet voters, and especially in these closing hours, it is madness because there are a lot of reporters wanting to cover these candidates who are up in front. Well, that definitely happened this morning when Ron Paul went to Mojo's, a restaurant in Manchester. He was trying to meet and greet, and it really got pretty insane when it came to the media. And so he was going to sit down and have breakfast, and he ended up leaving, which really made some voters there who wanted to meet him, who say that this is really their right and they demand this here in New Hampshire. They were very upset about that. So I asked Ron Paul about that, and he didn't love the question. Listen. At the last stop where you just were, it was madness. But there was a woman there who was a New Hampshire voter. She voted for Barack Obama in the last primary. She said she told me that if she would have been able to just shake your hand and look you in the eye, you would have gotten her vote, but now she's turned off because you left. Was that saying anything about your ability to connect with
It's something about the media.
And so he blamed the media. It's our fault.
And so anyway, he blamed the media and it's our fault. And basically what he said was that the problem was that it was unsafe. And that was what his campaign said afterwards, is unsafe for him and his wife to be there. But John, look, I think the first one that I covered, first primary that I covered here was 1996. You have a few more gray hairs than I do, so I know that you were doing it a lot earlier. You've witnessed scenes like that. I've witnessed scenes like that. And part of the thing that the voters were saying to me that I talked to at that event was, look, we've seen this before, and candidates kind of work through it, and they do what they can to press the flesh, and they were disappointed that he didn't do that.
Dana Bash, live on the trail. Retail politics, always an impact in New Hampshire. Dana, we'll see you tomorrow on the big day. And after tomorrow, the fight for the Republican nomination heads south. Texas Governor Rick Perry